Judge Andrew Napolitano, our senior judicial analyst, and Rebecca Rose Woodland, lead trial attorney and founding partner with Lanuzzi and Woodland. So, Judge, what does this mean?
Well, this is a profound victory for profound. I'll tell you why in a second. I use the word profound for the president's efforts to reshape the landscape of federal immigration law. It's profound because when the president decides that temporary protected status doesn't apply because the problem in the home country doesn't exist anymore, that is not reviewable by federal judges. This is an extraordinary recognition of power in the executive branch for the Supreme Court to say to lower courts, you can't review this. Now, we're not talking about turning people away at the border. We're talking about people that President Biden, President Bush, President Clinton, this goes way back, found that these people had the right to be here because they'd be tortured, their money would be stolen, their children would be harmed, horrible things would happen to them if they were forced back to their home countries. The people argued, look, we're married, we have children, we're Americanized, we've been here for 20 years, our children are grown, you can't kick us back now. The Supreme Court said, yes, the president can. Not the ones that were born here, they're American citizens. But the people who are granted temporary protected status from countries that no longer offer a threat to those people will have to take them back.
You tap into another thing that they're arguing, that is that birthright citizenship.
Well, that's apparently going to come tomorrow because I think, or next week. There are 7 or 8 cases by my count still to come, and this one and the gun one we can talk about in a minute are the only 2 hot button ones today.
The latest numbers that they have from March 2025, there are approximately 1.3 million people in the U.S. on this temporary protected status, and that's who would be impacted by this.
Right, and so for these people, say if they come here under this temporary protected status, right, but then they become American citizens, this won't affect them, right? If they become citizens, this is for people that just remains under that temporary protected status.
That are in the gray area.
And then now this gives President Trump the authority to say, bye-bye, go home.
Yes.
So on the one hand, I get it. They should have done their due diligence and maybe gone through the process and become citizens. But then on the other hand, these are people, maybe grandparents, right?
Yes.
And they've been here for many, many years, and they took for granted this TPS.
Here's the interesting question,
so there's
Rebecca.
kind of
There's a million people in this category. Do they get hearings? Can you imagine the federal judiciary having to provide hearings for 1 million human beings?
It's unclear. So I don't know that we could really hold hearings. I mean, they've been here. Now the Supreme Court is saying, well, it was temporary, and it's time for you, once we determine your country is safe, it's time to go back. Now, if the country's not safe and we determine it's not, well, those people can remain here. That's what it seems.
Well, these are the countries that are most impacted. 97% of all the recipients come from Venezuela. That's the bulk of them. And more than it's 600,000. Haiti, then El Salvador, then a few from Honduras, and some from Ukraine.
So this is Haitians and Syrians. Why that designation, Judge? Why do you think it was for Haitians and Syrians?
We don't know why Joe Biden made the designations, or even George W. Bush, as we know, this goes way back, or President Obama.
This sounds like a logistical nightmare at this point.
It would be a logistical nightmare if hearings are required for all those people. And Rebecca's right. The opinion is silent on the hearings.
Yes.
I wish they had answered that question. However, it would be an impossibility for the government to provide hearings for 1 million people. Many of them may just say, that's it, we're going to go. And many of them have become American citizens. But there's about 1 million in that category just staying here, believing that their temporary status would become permanent. You know, there's that old one-liner, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program. That's what they were expecting to be the case.
I know, but when it says temporary and you're here and you really want to be an American citizen, you really had to make moves to do that. Because things change, and, you know, the law is the law, as we always say. The Supreme Court's really just enforcing the constitutional law of the country. And they're doing well now.
And it's recognizing the unique ability of the executive branch to decide which countries are dangerous, an ability so unique that it cannot be second-guessed by federal judges.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.